Welcome to the Bill Spadea Show on demand. Don't forget to subscribe and follow this show so you'll never miss a minute. New Jersey 101.5.
Bill Spadea is compensated for commercial and nonprofit appearances.
6:09 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadea with you till 10 o'clock this morning, talking Jersey, taking your calls, 1-800-283-101.5. Want to thank Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook for sponsoring New Jersey Chime Time every morning, every hour on the show. So, Dan, nasty weather coming tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow is not going to be a nice weather day here. Every corner of New Jersey getting absolutely soaked.
So, tell me, all right, we know it's going to be a lot of rain. You're thinking, what, 2 to 4 inches?
2 to 3 inches is the general rule. Might be a little less in spots, might be up to 4 inches if it really pours.
So, how are the driving conditions going to be? I asked that selfishly. I'm headed to Plumstead for a fundraiser breakfast in the morning, 9 o'clock, then up to Hopatcong in Sussex County for a...
That's a drive.
Yeah, for a noon event. What do you think?
If I had to guess, looking at when and where the heaviest rain will be, I'm thinking the midday to afternoon hours are really going to be the brunt of the storm.
Got it.
It's going to be a wet day no matter what, but I mean, if we get inch-an-hour rainfall, that's going to cause visibility and traction issues, big puddles, flooding issues. I mean, this is a lot of water that's falling from the sky tomorrow.
How about wind?
It will be there. I see gusts to 40 miles an hour. The estimates have come down a little bit. So, it's just going to contribute to an overall nasty day tomorrow.
All right. Well, thank you, Dan. What about Sunday?
Sunday's dry. Sunday looks great. We should see sunshine across inland New Jersey.
Between the two of us, Dan, I have to address
We're alternating coughing.
It's the alternating clearing of the throats. Is it a pollen issue?
Yes. And
I'm
let me just say
annoyed.
this.
Yeah.
2 to 3 inches of rain, that's going to wash all the pollen out of the sky, and I can't wait.
So Sunday will be speaking clearly and all good.
Absolutely. Yeah, some nice weather early next week. Monday and Tuesday are looking good, too.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan.
Yep.
Eric, I'll tell you, the allergies, you could just tell. Someone said yesterday, they're like, I could tell the difference in your voice over just a week.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
No doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Every year.
And it's bad. It's bad earlier, I think, this year. And it happened.
I think so, too.
I think it started for me last weekend.
I knew it the minute I saw there's a, on the corner of 206, and it may be Province Line, I'm not sure, but there's a magnolia tree that is already blooming, and it's, the pink and the white, and I'm like, I don't know, that seems early for that, given that it was freezing this morning.
Yeah.
So
I'm
big
hoping
weekend?
that it doesn't kill some of the buds on the tree, because one of my prize
it was
Japanese
23
maples
this morning.
was budding last week, for me, it's the pine trees. Pine trees are worse, and of course, I've got 50 of them rimming my property.
Right.
But it's.
And you're allergic. That's why you don't have a real Christmas tree, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, I'm allergic to them. So it's great to have them in the yard.
Yeah, I'm sure. I can't believe you haven't cut them down yet.
I've taken a couple of them down, but they're privacy, I mean,
I know. I know.
And they're 25, 30 years old now.
Let me ask you, in your news, you were talking about Attorney General Matt Platkin joining other states and suing Apple over antitrust issues with smartphones. I actually thought it was funny to hear a comment about technology, as if there's any limitation on any technology. I feel like technology is way beyond anything we could have even predicted 10 years ago. But my question is, that's what he's focused on. I was reading Dan Alexander's note this morning. Another attempted kidnapping in Lakewood. Another attempted carjacking. I mean, and that was in Edison. Crime seems to be up across the board.
Well, this is the frustration that we're hearing from mayors. And, these are not just Republican mayors. These are Democrats. This is Edison's mayor, Sam Joshi, has been one of the most vocal. Platkin met with the Edison mayor and a couple of other mayors earlier this week. All Joshi would say is that, they had a very pointed discussion, but it doesn't look like there were any solutions that were coming out of that. And, the call for bail reform, for tougher penalties, for the ability to
You mean to reform bail reform?
To reform bail
Right,
reform.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. To keep some of these repeat criminals locked up is just growing louder. And as you continue to see the incidents like the one you're referencing this morning, you're only going to have those calls grow louder. And, you could have action by the legislature, but ultimately you can't implement changes unless Governor Murphy signs the changes into law. And he has not addressed the issue, nor has he given any indication that he is open to reforming the reforms or, toughening penalties. So it leaves the local towns at a real disadvantage in combating some of this crime. In Edison, they've increased police patrols. They've increased license plate readers. And that seems to be the new thing now. But a lot of that is reactive and not necessarily preventative.
Well, and then we heard from the Lakewood police. I mean, and they had to say this, but it was to hear it was almost surreal. There's a Jewish holiday coming up this weekend, and local police were urging parents to not leave children alone outside and travel in groups.
Yes.
Travel in groups like we're in some third world country. This is Lakewood, Ocean County.
Yeah.
I'm blown away by this. In Edison, you referenced Mayor Yoshi. You're right. The two of the three teens that were wanted in this attempted carjacking, 16 and 17 years old from Rahway.
Yep, and they grabbed a guy and yanked him out of his SUV in broad daylight in a parking lot of a supermarket. And, smart or not, this guy fought him off and was able to run away with his key fob, so, he didn't lose his vehicle. But, I mean, somebody asked me yesterday, is it that there's more crime or is it just getting reported more? And I don't know that I really know the answer to that. Anecdotally, I see more of it coming across my desk on a daily basis. We don't report all of the crime, obviously.
We wouldn't have enough time in the day.
Wouldn't have enough time to do it. I mean, but it's the amount that is in my daily stack and in the reports that I receive definitely has gone up.
Yeah, and even Platkin admitted, I think it was last year, that auto thefts had gone up something like 22.5%. And then what I saw, my friend Jim Murdoch pointed out something on News 12. He said that he showed a graph that the percentage of car thefts that involve home invasions
is going up.
Has doubled or tripled.
Because, and understand,
wow.
I think in some people's minds, this is still, these are teenagers just boosting a car for a joyride. It is not. This is a sophisticated international criminal enterprise that is going after either high-end luxury vehicles or vehicles that are common because they strip them for parts and sell those on the black market. So, I mean, it's not just your Lexus and, your Infiniti. It's Toyotas and Hondas and Kias because they can be chopped up.
Yeah. All right, so question for you. Have you ever had your car stolen? Have you been carjacked? Have you ever confronted a thief and had to deal with losing your car? Or are you more concerned now than you have been before, even in the middle of the day? I remember the old days, right? You'd leave your car running when you ran in to get your coffee at Wawa. Don't do that. 1-800-283-101.5, 617, Fast Traffic Instant Weather Now. 622 on New Jersey, 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadea with you till 10 o'clock this morning, talking Jersey, taking your calls, 1-800-283-101.5. New Jersey 101.5 and Pet Center in Old Bridge are looking for the Garden State's cutest pet. Send us a pic of your furry best friend. The grand prize winner gets a $500 gift card to Pet Center. I want to thank our sponsor, Pet Center, located in the shops at Old Bridge, right on Route 9. Yes, they have a whole section dedicated to you being able to play with the puppies. You want to get on down there, it's awesome. But if you've got Jersey's cutest pets, send that pic to the free app or at New Jersey 101.5's website, nj1015.com. All right, let's jump right back into it at 623. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the rising crime. I'm sick of the fact that you've got an increased percentage of car thefts coming from home invasions where they're breaking in to steal your key fob. One guy refused to be carjacked in Edison and was able to get away with the key fob, and they grabbed two teens that are responsible. There were 3 in total. But it's getting out of control, and these thieves are brazen. And as Eric pointed out, there is an organized action taking place here. These are not one-off, just bad kids. These kids are being used, and you think it's any coincidence that this is happening while we have a wide-open border with 4 cartels operating on the American border on the Mexican side? Come on. Of course it's related. Let's go to Patrick in Edison. Question is, have you ever gotten your car stolen? Patrick, happened to you?
Yep. Can't believe it happened to me one time about 2 years ago. And, I was fortunate enough that the law enforcement helped us get it back. But the thing is that it was a supercar that my daddy bought.
What kind of car?
Lamborghini Murcielago.
Wow. How did your dad get that? What kind of work do you do? That's an awesome car.
He's a cop.
No kidding.
Yup.
So
you know what?
What happened? How did the car get stolen? Was it out of your driveway? Were you going somewhere?
Well, no, it was the day before Halloween, and we were having a little party, and we come outside that night. Car wasn't there anymore.
Did they ever find the car?
Yep, yes, sir. The car was found, and I'm grateful for the police for that and all the time they put in, and
yeah.
So I got to let.
So let me ask, Patrick, do you do anything different now that happened?
Yeah, I you know what? I don't have a supercar anymore.
That's it. I love it. All right, man. Good talking to you, Patrick.
The Corolla.
You
too. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Take care. All right, let's go to Joe in Hazlitt. Morning, Joe.
Hey, Bill, great to talk to you. Always great to listen to you, man. This is why you should take care of your older cars, because they're not going to want those.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So I don't know if you saw this, but it's crazy, and I'm true. You could check it on me. In Canada, they're telling the civilians to put the key fob outside their house so they don't break into houses anymore, and they can just take your car and go bye-bye, because they find out that most civilians don't have guns and the robbers do. So they're tired of the conflicts of people getting hurt with interacting with the robber. So they just said, take it easy. And this is the police commissioner. You check it on me.
No, listen, Joe, I already did. I saw this yesterday. This was reported in the Washington Times. Someone sent it to me yesterday. This was last week. In Toronto, police are advising people to leave the key fob outside or in the car so to avoid a break-in. That is the most
absurd,
insane thing I've heard. Look, it's got to get to a point, and Joe, I've said this before, we need to change the rules of engagement so that our police officers can hunt these guys down more efficiently and not be restricted by the absurdity of this cop-hating attorney general. But more importantly, we need to change the rules of engagement when it comes to homeowners. I think it is absurd that you have to think about whether or not you can deploy your firearm in your own home if you've got somebody in there, that there's even a question that you shouldn't be allowed to engage and use that deadly force, regardless of what. Nobody has a right to get into your home. And until we start fighting back, we're not going to solve this problem.
And Bill, what you need to do too is go back to the old school. Put the old school club on the steering wheel. How many kids are pumped?
Yeah, you remember that?
Plus a stick shift. They ain't getting into and taking that.
You know, I've always had a stick. It's the first time now I do not have a manual transmission, and I miss it. And let me tell you, for you car enthusiasts, I don't know about you, Joe, but the stupid paddles on your
I don't like them. I don't like them.
I hate it. I hit it by accident all the time. I hate it.
Yeah, that's not the same as driving a stick. I mean, I get it for the engine and all that, but the old school, again, a lot of the old school stuff did work. Like, again,
I agree.
A deterrent like a club in your window.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't get.
You know what would be best though, Joe? Instead of having to defend your home with a firearm, instead of having to worry about the club, instead of worrying about where the key fob is,
have the police do their job.
Thank you. Let's empower the cops. End bail reform. Start locking them up as young as 16. Throw away the key.
Jail so they learn.
Damn right.
Throw them in jail.
All right,
so
Joe, I got to jump, brother. Got to jump. Running late. 6:28. Eric Scott with the news next. 6:37 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadia. We're talking about car thefts and carjackings, and the question on the table is, have you ever had your car stolen? 1-800-283-101.5. Before I get back to that, Eric, I just want to ask you, so let me just understand the context here of Senator Bob Menendez. Now, he's facing an increasing number of indictments and accusations dealing with his time as the head of the Foreign Affairs Committee, right? I mean, this is serious stuff, not just about taking bribes, but taking bribes on behalf of foreign entities. I mean, these are
Well, he's actually
serious,
been charged
right?
with acting as an agent for a foreign government. I mean, that is a pretty big charge.
Like treason. I mean, that's really bad.
It's one step down from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he could face, dozens of years in prison if he's convicted.
On multiple counts, yeah. I mean, even a conviction on one count could get him, 15, 20 years behind bars.
Practically speaking, this is New Jersey. We've had plenty of people that have run for office while under indictment. We've had... I remember there were comments. Some people have gone to jail and then they contemplate running for re-election.
Yes.
I mean, right? We have all kinds of characters in this state. So it's par for the course that he is playing politics now. But the question is, what damage could Bob Menendez do? I mean, you're going to have a Democratic candidate. I think it's going to be Andy Kim. I think regardless of the outcome of this lawsuit, I believe Tammy Murphy's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And Kim is raising money. He's got good endorsements. Steve Fulop, not that his endorsement carries a lot of weight, but, it was a sign that the establishment Democrats are now running up the ropes to the Andy Kim deck.
Yeah.
What does it mean if he runs as an independent? If you could explain to me, when is the deadline for that? I was mistaken. I thought he had to file as an independent on primary day, but you're saying no 45 days out from the general.
That's only if he wanted to run as an independent in the primary. He could run as an independent in a primary and face, Kim and Murphy if he wanted to. What he's saying is he expects to be exonerated of all charges during the trial in the summer, and therefore he could file to run as an independent up to 45 days out from the election.
What would that mean for the race in the general? Let's assume we've got Andy Kim and the Republicans. You and I have talked about this. I mean, Bob Hugin, Jack Ciattarelli, the rest of the cast of characters have essentially tanked the bench. I mean, I'd go back to Chris Christie on that. I mean,
that's absolutely traces back because nobody could rise higher than Christie. Right. And that was a problem. I mean, he suppressed any hope that you had candidates that were going to grow because he just didn't want the attention taken off of him for a presidential run.
I mean, you have two credible candidates. You've got Curtis Bashaw, who's got a lot of money, very successful hotel owner. No real name ID to speak of yet, but he's got personal resources, so you never know. And then you've got Christine Serrano Glasner, who I'm not sure if Christie is supporting or not. It's his mayor, though.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know if he's offered an official endorsement. He typically has not been doing that for any race or candidate.
Bramnick introduced her at the Union County Convention. I'm assuming Bramnick's on board with her. But again, I don't know. I mean, she's the Trump candidate in the race, but I don't know. I don't know who wins the primary yet. I think it's too early, and they're still positioning. But do you think a Republican has a shot at winning if you have Bob Menendez in the mix as an independent?
He might take some votes away from the official Democratic candidate. I think people are pretty much done with Bob Menendez. I mean, his approval ratings are in the single digits. Obviously, the Democratic Party has turned their backs on him. Is there a core constituency that would siphon some votes off from the Democratic candidate? Perhaps. Is that enough for a Republican to try to come in and grab that seat? It's unlikely, simply because of the name recognition factor. And money's going to be a factor, right? I mean, whoever the Democratic candidate is going to have far greater resources, both locally and potentially nationally, than whatever the Republican candidate is going to be. I mean,
and PAC money, right? The money that comes in from the outside.
Yeah, because I just don't see
Democrats play to win.
They do, but it's their statewide infrastructure to elect candidates is far better than the Republican Party in New Jersey right now. It just is, and it's been that way for decades.
Stupid Hugin, the NJGOP chairman. I mean, they lost their office.
Right. They don't have the office anymore.
How do you do that? It's just, I mean, even the optics of that. I've yet to meet anybody, and I'm out and about, 3-4 times a day.
Yeah.
I mean, we hit 3 counties yesterday. I'll hit 3 counties tomorrow. And, we've got a series of private meetings today, but, I don't meet people on the trail who are saying, oh, I was volunteering for the New Jersey Republican Party and now I'm never. You don't meet anybody associated with them because there's no one. So I don't even know what the Republican Party as an organization even offers any of these candidates.
Well, usually what they would offer is a ground game, infrastructure, and money, and they don't have
any
of
of
those.
None of it.
Every time you think it can't get worse. I mean, I don't know if you want to run as a candidate as a Republican in a local race, let alone a statewide race, who's helping you?
Yeah, I can tell you, our organization, we literally get those calls, and we helped 104 candidates in the last cycle. We'll help another 100 or so this cycle, and it is amazing to me that, it's why I keep getting invited back to all these events, because local campaigns, they're looking for someone's school. I've had Republican leaders say, well, we don't like to get involved in school board races because they're nonpartisan. I'm like, are you out of your mind? The Democrats have been involved in these local races since the beginning of time.
Well,
that's why they're so strong.
Right. And they stepped that up as soon as the Republicans swept into power.
Yeah.
And, you had the Florio Free in 93, and then the Democrats lost the majority. That was their main focus. They regrouped and started. I mean, flip this around. Just think if this was, if it was opposite. If you had a Republican U.S. senator who had been indicted and was now basically looking at an open seat.
Right.
If that had been a Republican, do you think the state Democratic Party wouldn't have 3 or 4 viable candidates waiting in the wings, ready to pounce and go, we can grab that seat?
Yes. With funding.
Yeah.
With funding. And they would have a coordinated media effort. What do you even hear from the Republican leadership? Nothing. Yeah. Nothing.
They were completely unprepared.
And by the way, it was Jim Gerhardt who I think did more for Christine Todd Whitman in 93 than the Republican Party back then. So that's the truth.
Point. Yeah.
Right?
Good point. Yeah.
6:44. All right, we're going to get back to carjacking, but if you want to weigh in on this, I think it's an important question. And Eric asked a really wise question, right? Where do local candidates go? I'll tell you where you go. You go to BillSpadia.com. You call my show, 1-800-283-101.5, because we're the only organization out there that's helping local candidates. 1-800-283-101.5 is my number. Traffic and weather next, 6:45. 6:52 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadia with you till 10 o'clock this morning, talking Jersey, taking your calls. 1-800-283-101.5. So our Attorney General is focused on Apple and a lawsuit involving attorneys general across the country, all Democrats, of course. And I say that, in a snarky, dismissive way, because isn't it so ridiculous that the partisanship, it's almost like a concerted, coordinated effort to ignore the real problems afflicting Americans and focus on nonsense that makes headlines because most media is complicit. And the challenge we've had in New Jersey is that Matt Platkin, the Attorney General, who is anti-cop, who is completely incompetent when it comes to managing the affairs of the chief law enforcement officer in the state, doesn't know what he's doing. It's obvious just based on the numbers, the spike in crime and the frustration among police officers, the decreasing recruiting. We hear numbers like we're 30% below where we were a couple of years ago. So we've got major problems. And this attorney general and this governor, they what do? They play the distraction game because they either don't want to or are incapable of dealing with real problems. The situation's so bad in Canada, you want to take a look at what socialism does to neighborhoods. In Canada, the cops in Toronto in particular are asking residents to leave the key fobs outside so the criminals won't come in and steal the fob out of your home and potentially cause you harm. So we've gotten to a point now where we know beyond a doubt that it's these Mexican cartels that are being aided and abetted by treasonous actors on our own side in the Biden administration, certainly in the Murphy administration. I said this yesterday. I did an interview with Wendy Bell on Newsmax. It'll air tomorrow. And you can see my full schedule at billspadia.com/events. And I said, look, there's a real insurrection happening, and it's being led by the Democratic Party. And we are being undermined at every level, undermined at the family level where the mental illness of gender dysphoria has now been increased in the name of tolerance. Kids are being mutilated, taken from their parents. And then you get the people that answer these polls. Don't buy it. If you ask the right question, you can get just about any answer you want. No, most people don't want children separated from their parents to be mutilated by these, gender-affirming care butchers. It's just not reality. Reality is that we want to be left alone. We want to raise our families. We'd like some support from government. That would be cool. Maybe instead of having to worry about being armed in my own house and having a loaded gun by my bed, it would be nice to know that maybe we should live in a society where the perps who commit crimes are going to be stuck in jail for years. And I think we should lower that aggressive prosecution to 16-year-olds. You're 16, you steal a car on behalf of one of these gangs or cartels, you're going to spend the rest of your high school years at least behind bars. We have to get tough. There is no doubt, guys, that unless we elect a governor who's going to, on day one, issue an executive order declaring an emergency and end bail reform, our streets are not going to get safer. We are doing the opposite of what we should be doing. And it's all a part of the same thing. Democrats want to undermine the family with mom and dad. Democrats want to allow illegals to storm the border, get them licenses, and let them vote. Well, Jack Ciattarelli, for that matter, is complicit in that. And he wants to be your governor as a Republican. What a joke. John Bramnick, for his part, has a law firm that's fighting for illegals to beat the deportation orders. They're your two Republicans running for governor right now. Think we can do better? Yeah, I'll bet we can. And the problem is that we lack courage in politics because politics has become a game of like the lowest common denominator. The guys that are out there that can't get a real job end up in politics. So you get the worst. And that's the challenge. And as a result of that weakness, we are being overrun at our southern border. We are being overrun by crime in our own state at home. We have a school system designed to sexualize your kids and separate them from mom and dad. Guys, we got big problems. Change is coming, though. Have no fear. I believe a majority of us are normal, and there are more of us than there are of them. Now, question for you. Carjackings are up. Home break-ins are up. Have you been a victim of a crime? What was that experience like? And are you concerned now? What do you do differently today that maybe you didn't do 10 years ago? 1-800-283-101.5, 658. Eric Scott with your news next. 7-Eleven on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadia with you till 10 o'clock this morning. Talking Jersey, taking your calls. 1-800-283-101.5. I want to thank Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook for sponsoring New Jersey Chime Time every morning, every hour on the show. So this morning, I want to take your calls on the other side of traffic and weather. We ran a little long on the front side of the news. So I want to ask you, with this rash of car break-ins, with the home invasions on the rise, are you concerned about your vehicle? Are you concerned about your home? What are you doing differently that you maybe weren't doing before? I remember, growing up in Cherry Hill, I've told this story. I was born in Camden, grew up in Cherry Hill, and there was a 7-Eleven. You probably remember it if you have been in South Jersey. And where the old Cherry Hill water tower was. The water tower's still there, but it used to have a big Cherry Hill and a big cherry painted on it. And underneath that, or right next to it, was a 7-Eleven. And that was like the main stop for commuters, always packed. And most people would pull up and leave the car running, door unlocked, car running, go in, buy a paper, get a cup of coffee, etc. Man, you don't do that today. And my question to you is, have you ever had your car stolen? Have you ever been carjacked? What are you doing differently to keep your vehicle and your home safe? And look, I people know this. I mean, we're well armed, and we've got video surveillance from my friends at Action Network. I don't take any chances with security, but boy, wouldn't it be nice if we had a governor that would stop this madness of the sanctuary state and bail reform and start keeping people behind bars to get less criminals on the street. That would be a nice start. What are you doing to keep yourself safe? Are you concerned about safety and about your car? And have you ever had your car stolen? 1-800-283-101.5, 713, Fast Traffic Instant with an arrow. 722 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadia. So we're talking about car break-ins. I remember a friend of mine, Adam, who worked for me at Weicker Realtors. His wife was carjacked in Newark, going to get gas. Pulled over to get gas, and thieves came up and just took the car. And I think that you go back years and you think that there was something to these one-off carjackings and thefts. Now, there's no way to avoid seeing the reality that we have organized cartels and gangs that are sending younger and younger people in to take people's cars. It's getting bad. It's getting bad. And the question is, what do you do about it? But the first question is, has it happened to you? Let's go to Bijou in Burlington. What's going on, Bijou?
Hey, Bill. Good morning.
Good morning. So you had your car stolen?
Yes, this was actually in October of 2023. Family of 8, we went down to Canada, Mississauga, Canada, for a wedding. And I rented a Chevy Suburban from Burlington, New Jersey, from the Enterprise. Mm-hmm. And, I stayed at a Best Western, and they asked me for all the details about the car, what year, where did you park, the whole thing, the details about the car. And I gave all that stuff. And next morning comes in 7:30. I went back to get some stuff from the car, and the car wasn't there. And all I saw was some shattered glass on the parking lot.
Wow.
So, yeah, I immediately called the cops about it because I talked to the manager there at the Best Western. They said, no, you should call the cops. Call the cops. From 7:30 to like 11:30, I waited there. None of the cops showed up. So finally took like an Uber, went to the police station there, spent like an hour and a half to 2 to get a report created. That's the only way that Enterprise will accept that the car got stolen. Otherwise, they're thinking that I'm just playing a game with them.
Wow.
Yeah, and Enterprise wasn't any helpful at all. They were like, oh, it's in another country. There's, we have our limitations on what we can do. Car needs to appear on some hot list for us to do anything. I finally got the ticket created.
But wait, Bijou, let me understand. So what happened? You called Enterprise and said, hey, the rental car that I drove from Burlington to Canada is no longer with me. Somebody took it.
Correct.
And they were not helpful. I'm surprised.
No. They said, go call the cops, get a police report created. Once you have the police report created, call us back. I said, sure, let me do that. So went through that whole process, took about 5 to 6 hours to get a police report created there. And then I called them up. They said that, well, great that you created it. What needs to happen is the car VIN number needs to appear on the hot list of the cops so that it is verified that it is stolen.
Wow.
That takes about 48 hours to 64, according to the police report. So they would not give me another car. And I tried to go to the local rental companies down in Canada. They will not give me a car because I'm returning this back in New Jersey. So spent like a whole day, took like an Uber to the Toronto International Airport there. Went through 6 or 8 different car rental companies. Finally, one of them gave me a car, like an Infiniti or something, for $500 a day. I never heard such a ridiculous rate in my life.
Wow.
They charge like $500 for one day. That's how I finally, 8 of us got back to New Jersey from Canada.
So where were you able to drop the car in New Jersey from Canada?
I had to go back to the Philadelphia International Airport. That's the only place where I can drop a car from my airport.
What an ordeal. How many days? It was one day back, though, right? So just $500.
Yes.
Man, Biju, what a mess. Now, you're with a family of 8, so you got your kids, you got your wife, right?
Yes. And my in-laws also was with me.
Wow.
But here is the interesting thing, Bill. The enterprise will charge me till the point that car appears in some hot list on the cops. So it could take 1 week. They will charge me for that 1 week on my credit card.
Well, how long did it take?
4 days.
Took 4 days for it to show up. So they charged you for 4 days.
Yes. The entire money plus one additional day. Because I only rented for 3 days. It took the 4 days to appear on the hot list. So they charged me for the whole 4 days. It's all in their fine prints. Nobody reads that tiny, phone 7 or phone 5 letters on the back of the paper.
I have to tell you, Biju, I'm shocked. I did not know that that's how they would handle it. That seems to be the worst customer service ever. I mean, you had this trauma of having to, would you ever rent from them again?
No, I'm done with them. And there is more catch to it with the rentals. The thing is, if you don't have their full insurance on the car, and your insurance is not going to cover the entire cost of.
So are you saying you should check the box and take the rental car's insurance if you're driving, especially if you're going long distance?
100%.
Wow.
100%. Otherwise, people don't realize it. It might be only $20 more for a day or something. But your company, rental company, let's say if I have my insurance with Geico is not going to cover the entire cost of a brand new Chevy Suburban, $60,000 or $80,000. They don't.
So you're out $1,000 and someone stole your car. That is nuts. Biju, thank you, man. I've got to jump for news, but good to talk to you. Appreciate the story. Glad it worked out. Thank you. All right. Have you ever had your car stolen? If anything like that happened to you with a rental car? Wow, that's nuts. 728. Eric Scott with your news in 2 minutes. $7:38 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadio with you till 10 o'clock this morning. Talking Jersey, taking your calls. 1-800-283-101.5. So, Eric, the big day is coming. 2 milestones. One, I leave the demo of 25 to 54, turning 55 on Monday. And 2, and I didn't know this, and I'm kind of dealing with this by talking it out on the air.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit of therapy for me. I am considered on Monday a senior citizen.
Yes.
By many establishments.
Yes.
Now, that happened fast. I mean,
well, it took 55 years, so I don't know how fast.
A fair point. Although the last few have been a bit of a blur. So to me, it's like, what the hell? How did I get here? Look, being here is better than the alternative for sure. But
it's true.
I did not, I don't know, maybe I'm naive. I had no idea that there were senior citizen discounts starting at age 55.
Well, I mean, political differences aside, I joined AARP at 50.
Yeah.
So I've been getting those discounts, with my card.
So you've been a senior all this time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people have said I'm an old soul anyway. So
You're the guy that'll be yelling on the porch, "Get off my lawn!
Get off my lawn!" Or depending on where we live, get out of my stones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
right. You're right. I didn't join ARP. I disagree with their political contributions.
Yep.
So, but I know there are great discounts out there, and some people have suggested a few other groups. I don't know. I'm kind of, I am embracing this idea. Now, you know me, I'm pretty cheap. Thrifty, I like to say.
Thrifty, yeah.
So I am now on a hunt for discounts for 55-year-olds.
But you found some good ones already.
I think we, I'm going to ask, Thomas is in for producer Kristen, if you can alert that article to the app. I don't know if he knows how to do that.
Now, are you embarrassed to ask for those discounts when you go in?
No way. No way. I can't wait. Are you kidding? You should be asking, is Jody going to be embarrassed when I ask for the discounts?
Yeah. So there was an option. There was a spouse option at AARP.
Yeah.
Do you want a second card? And I was like, absolutely, I want a second card. So I got one for Sandra. And she's a few years younger than I am. And when I gave it to her, she was like, is this a joke? What is this? Why are you giving me this?
Hilarious. Because it's not like they're going to check ID. If you have a card, you belong.
Well, and who's checking ID? Somebody that is substantially younger than you. It could be a teen or 20-something.
Yeah.
And to them, we look, we're ancient.
Love it. Yeah, I was thinking, I figured I'd ask the audience, like, I will absolutely be asking for these discounts.
See, I don't know. I
mean, literally Monday, the first thing I'm going to do when I get to, I may go specifically for coffee, be like, hey, I just want you to know, I'm a senior citizen now. What discounts do you have for 55 and older? I wonder, I can't wait to see the face on the kids, like the reaction. Right, because it's going to be, you're right, some 20-something barista is going to look at me like I'm crazy. Although I don't know, though. I kept the beard. I've got gray in the beard. I think I'll blend right in.
We have that thing on our TV where the screensaver is like our Google Photos, the stuff that comes up.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's vacation stuff. And there was one that popped up, I think it was 2017 or something like that. And my beard was completely red. And now it's almost all white. And I was like, ooh, I still think that I'm that guy, but now I'm this guy. And that's, it's a little shocking. Although I will boldly say that neither you nor I, and I'm only a year younger than you, but neither you nor I look our age. I think we look substantially younger than we actually are.
I think compared to a lot of folks that look the age, like when you're not surprised.
Right.
You definitely look younger than I do. And I don't know, it's interesting. I can't wait because I have been annoyed to this point that you go into places like Wegmans, and nothing against Wegmans. I use them all the time. I love the store. But the kids at the register card me because they sell booze. And Wegmans has a really good wine selection.
Yeah.
And I'll buy wine there, but they card you. And I'm like, really? Yeah. Like, it's just such a pain. I got to go now find my license. But now I want to be carded to get the discounts. Now, here's what I found, and I wrote about this. The Hard Rock Cafe in Atlantic City has a program called the Classic Rockers, where you get 50% off.
50%
50. I mean, that's a significant discount. Starts at 55. I can rent a car at Hertz, 20% off.
Wow.
Right? I got a new rental company. There's a senior day at Walgreens. First Tuesday of every month. They just opened a Walgreens in the Princeton Shopping Center. So, I can't wait. Like, first Tuesday of every month. So, I got to wait a few weeks. But I will be there.
I now know what I'm getting you for your birthday. I'm going to get you one of those plastic squeeze change purses. You need to have one of those now.
Of course. As a senior citizen, I don't carry a wallet. That's true. As a senior citizen, I don't know. I was thinking of getting a walking stick. I mean, there's just a lot of things that I'm thinking about.
A walking stick would be nice.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I think that it's because it's dignified, right?
Now, what's funny is because we just said that, I will have an Instagram ad pop up for a walking stick within the next few minutes. And the question is, hey, it's my birthday. I'll shop on Instagram if I want to. 744 on New Jersey 101.5. Serious question. Do you take advantage of senior discounts? I'll be 55 next week. And the happiness of being out of the demo, you're in the demo in the media business is 25 to 54, you matter. 55 and older, nobody cares anymore. Where are the best senior discounts in New Jersey? Come on, I want to go to dinner and get half price somewhere. 1-800-28, and I don't mind eating at 4 o'clock. 1-800-283-101.5 is my number. 7:45 is the time. Traffic and weather's coming up next. 7:52 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadia with you till 10 o'clock this morning. Talking Jersey, taking your calls 1-800-283-101.5. Hey, I want to get into this 55-year-old discount. I just want to tell you, if you follow my social media, I'm at Bill Spadea. There's a tweet I just sent out from Vivek Ramaswamy talking about the Supreme Court getting involved potentially in this outrage with New York Attorney General Letitia James. Boy, what a scumbag she is. Who is taking steps to seize President Trump's assets. I mean, we've not seen in our lifetime a bigger political witch hunt than this going after Donald Trump. Say what you will about the guy. You may hate him, like him, doesn't matter. No one was defrauded. This whole thing is a complete farce. I mean, it's a bunch of left-wing radicals going after the guy because he is poised to win back the White House. It's that simple. This is the justice system being used and weaponized to hurt people and to affect a political outcome. This is the same thing that Zelensky is doing in Kiev, all aided and helped and supported by our tax dollars, more than $100 billion of our tax dollars. So, Biden's doing the same thing here. This Letitia James is just, a complete fool and incompetent, and all she's got is her hatred of Trump. I mean, this is what Trump derangement syndrome looks like. And now, the story is that he overvalued his assets, and even the banks that lent him the money based on the value of those assets, they did their own evaluation and ended up agreeing with Donald Trump's evaluation. And by the way, got all their money back and made their profit. Everybody won. This was a completely made up attack on President Trump. So you got to read about this. I'm hoping the Supreme Court does get involved, but I will tell you, if whether you are on the fence or not based on politics or Republican versus Democrat, to me, a vote for Donald Trump is a vote against the weaponization of our system. Let this play out. The man will serve one term, and with any luck and by the grace of God, we will be able to secure our border and right the ship when it comes to inflation and get America back to being an affordable, safe, prosperous place where you can raise your kids without interference from radicals. That's pretty much in a nutshell what we want to accomplish. But what's happening in New York with the Attorney General there taking steps to seize Trump's assets, it is really disgusting and egregious. I mean, this is something that will be admired by every Banana Republic tyrant out there looking at how they run their countries as, the S-hole countries as Trump described, now happening here. I mean, they've turned New York into one of them. Really ridiculous. Anyway, I want to just share that. So follow me on social media. Keep checking at nj1015.com/Bill Spadea and, of course, BillSpadea.com to get all the latest on where I am and what we're talking about. I'm going to get back to this on the other side of the news. Tommy, Mark, I'll get to you guys first. Big day. I'm turning 55 next week. Who knew? I am now considered a senior citizen. And you know me, I love it. I can't wait to ask for the discounts. So the question is, where am I going first on Monday to celebrate the discounts I'm going to start getting at 55? 1-800-283-101.5 is my number. 7:56 at the time. Eric Scott with the news in 3.5 minutes. 8:10 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I want to thank Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app for sponsoring New Jersey Chime Time every morning, every hour on the show. All right, that's it. 55. It's coming, baby. A newly minted senior citizen. On Monday, I will be. Where am I going to get the best discounts? Let's start with Tommy in Manahawkin. You're about to make my day, Tommy.
Good morning, Bill.
How are you?
Good.
All right, where am I going?
Any fast food place, but Dunkin' Donuts in particular, will all give you 10% off minimum, so long as you ask for it. If you don't ask for it, they don't offer it to you. So 10% off anything I order at Dunkin' Donuts? Or any of the other fast food places, Chick-fil-A, Wendy's.
Really? I don't really eat fast food, but I will stop for coffee. So 10% off, what, do I have to show ID, or you just say, look, I'm 55, I'm a senior now?
No.
Help me out.
I just asked for, and can I have a senior discount? And they just apply it.
No kidding.
And I'm like you. I don't look 55, but they still give it to me. I have to be 70.
I love it, Tommy. I love it.
That's why I don't look 55.
There you go. I got the joke. I love it. Hey, man, thank you, Tommy. I'm going to add this to the list.
Place that has a great discount for seniors.
Where?
Or anybody else in New Jersey. It's a website called TeamPython.com, and they sell stun guns, which eBay and Amazon will not ship to New Jersey, even though they're very legal. In times like these.
Wait, what's it? It's called Team Python?
TeamPython.com.
I just want to make sure that's safe for work.
Mm-hmm.
All right, TeamPython.com. Oh, yeah, very cool. All right.
Self-defense products, and they give 20% off on any order. State of New Jersey.
No kidding. All right, I love it. I'm on the site now. Very cool. Thank you, Tommy. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you. Let's go to Mark on Staten Island. All right, where's my 55-year-old senior discount?
Hey, Bill, how you doing today?
Good, Mark. I'm doing great. Thanks.
Okay, the 55 and over discount, two of them are really good ones. Are
Go ahead. What, you got a list? You wrote them all down?
Yeah.
It's only two. Why'd you need a list, Mark?
Well, 55 and over, they have IHOP as a 55 and over page of their own.
I got that. As a matter of fact, I also learned that IHOP will give me a free breakfast on my 55th birthday.
Yes, also Denny's, free breakfast on your birthday.
God, I haven't been to a Denny's. Denny's are they still 24 hours?
There's one right outside of Atlantic City every time I head in there.
They got to be 24. That was our go-to when we were kind of wild high school seniors and probably shouldn't have been able to get into the bars, but we could. And that was our go-to stop late night after whatever party we were at, whatever place we were in. That was Denny's was the go-to. I always associated with that late night breakfast when you've had a few.
Yes.
All right, where else?
And Golden Corral has a discount.
Golden Corral. I feel like you got to be like, I think I need to be celebrating like the 75th birthday to go to Golden Corral. I don't know. I've never been to Golden Corral. Is it good?
They're right outside of Parks Casino. They're down the block.
Yeah, but is it any good, honestly?
Their fried chicken is one of the best ones I've ever tasted.
All right, there we go. So what am I getting as a 55-year-old? 20%, 10%?
Well, I think you get a free drink at lunch over there, and the other Denny's and IHOP are the best deals, I think.
All right, Mark, I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day. All right, so that's the question. Where are the senior discounts? And are you too embarrassed to show your ID and say, hey, I qualify? And have you ever gotten turned down? 1-800-283-101.5 is the number. 8:15 is the time. Traffic on the next.
Zero.
8:20 on New Jersey 101.5. I am Bill Spadia. There was a mystery yesterday that someone took the top of a sandwich off. Joe, I heard it was a whole thing on PST. Here's what
all over the building.
So I walk out and they and Joe, their producer, comes out. And he's like, "Hey, we got a situation with a sandwich."
People were being questioned.
They were like, "We think you may have done it," and I'm like, "Well, what did I do?" So apparently, someone just took the top off the sandwich and pulled out the pork roll and the egg and ate the top half of the sandwich, leaving the other half in the tray. And apparently you did this, Joe.
Yes.
How did they find out that you did it? Because I said, I haven't been out there yet. I have not seen the sandwiches.
Yes.
Right? See? Chris is pointing to me saying.
Yeah, it was Aunt Jill.
How did they find it was you?
They investigated, there was an investigation in this building. You think the FBI was called in.
I'm going to invite Chris to, from Chris and the crew on PST. Good morning, Chris.
I've never seen anything like this in my life.
What happened? You were really like a judge. I was a little intimidated.
I can't, Bill. I can't with this. She took a pork as a Jersey girl.
Yeah.
She took, and you're a Jersey girl too, Jill. I can't even believe this. She took a pork roll, egg, and cheese, and she took
And
the
peeled it
egg
apart?
off the pork roll, egg, and cheese with the top bun.
Who does
and left who does that?
I
She's
do.
an animal.
I do.
I mean, it was barbaric. Why did you do it though, Jill? What?
Because I half carbed it, okay? Because, I had to take off half the carbs.
So that was the bottom
What
half
about
of the
those
sandwich.
who want the
Okay.
carbs, like me?
And
Right.
then I don't like pork roll. So I just wanted the egg and cheese. And I thought, a little bit of bun,
You know, there
So-
are other sandwiches too. There are bacon sandwiches, right, Chris?
I didn't like any of that.
But you should have seen her face. I'm in trouble. I didn't even know what I did. Joe came out. He was very serious.
I
He's like,
actually did
come on.
think it was you because you're all weird with food. I thought it was
I am a
Bill.
little weird with food.
He's
I
weird
get
with
it.
food, and I thought it was him. Never did I suspect you, Jill.
No, I was blown away
Never.
by that.
Well,
See that?
Okay, so here's the thing.
This is like the interview after something terrible happens. You're like, God, I don't know. He was such a quiet neighbor.
But I didn't want to throw away good pork roll. So I went to throw the pork roll away and I was like, no, I'm going to leave it here because somebody might want this pork roll. And guess who ate the pork roll?
Me.
So now Chris owns it though.
I wasn't letting it sit there.
See, you weren't
I'm a
going to
Jersey
waste
girl.
food. You were not going to waste it.
No, absolutely
That's
not.
the key.
But
You
I
are
kind of
welcome.
wanted the top bun with it.
Right. So now you have like the open face sandwich.
She had an open face sandwich. She had
Here's
bottom bun.
the reason though. I also think it was not just the wasting of the food, but like you're touching the whole sandwich now.
No, never did any of my body touch the sandwich. It was a fork. I carefully with a fork. We need cameras out.
There are cameras out there. I just don't know who watches those cameras. There are cameras all around the building, and every once in a while, like I've noticed, some people will go in with their hands like on the, and I've done this. I've grabbed a grape from the fruit.
Well, remember
and then
that
I look at the
game-
camera. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, remember there was a game when we were little called Kerplunk? Kerplunk or no? It was all sticks, and they were lined up.
Yeah.
And you had to pull. It's like Jenga.
Oh, all right. I
You
got it.
carefully pull one
Yeah.
out without touching anything else, and we do that with the fruit.
I do that with the fruit. Can you get it in like with two fingers and get the grape without touching any of the other fruit? Now, here's the thing. I'm going to own up to what I did this morning.
Oh, I feel so bad because
I know you called me out.
partially my
Here
fault, too.
I'm having I only cut a half of the sandwich. I'm just a little hungry. I've got a busy day ahead. There'll be no time to eat, so I'm like I'm going to have a half. I'm down to like the last 2 bites of this sausage sandwich, and Jill Myra comes in. She's like, "Huh, Friday and Lent." And that was it. And now what do I do?
You should have seen his face. He looked at me. He looked at the sandwich.
I know.
He looked back at me.
I
It was
think
the
the
saddest-
worst sin is to waste the food.
I agree. I
Right?
agree. It's not your fault.
No.
You did not know what you were
I
doing.
didn't know. I wasn't even thinking. I just grabbed it, and I don't know. But thank you, Peter, for the great sandwiches from Ewing Diner. The sandwiches are really good, and they just looked good. They smelled good, and then I was thinking about the controversy yesterday, and I thought about pulling the top half off, and then I'm like, I'm just going to eat the whole thing.
Well, I guess
And here
what?
I am.
Yeah, and I did the same thing today. I pulled off the 2 sausage patties, so they're sitting out there in the tray.
There are extra
Anybody
sausage
want
patties there?
sausage patties?
I may grab them now. I mean, I'm all in now, so now I've already broken the whole no meat thing. Can I trade days? Can I go meatless tomorrow? I think I can. I think that's allowed.
There you go.
I'd like to ask Father Stan. Father Stan, if you're listening, let me know. Can I trade days if I've already made the mistake of eating meat? Wait a minute. Am I exempt because I'm a senior on Monday?
You're not that
Hold
old.
on a minute. All right. Let's go to Enrique in Kingston. What's going on, Enrique? How's the family?
Good. Taking Aiden to school. Hey, good morning, buddy.
Good morning. How you doing, Aiden?
Good. How are you, Bill?
Doing great. All right. So what are you up to, Enrique?
Listen, I'm going to be 67 in April.
God bless you.
All you have to do is don't brush your hair in the morning.
Yep.
Maybe wear pajamas, and you can get excused for anything you do wrong the rest of the day.
I love it. I'm going to throw on my pillow slippers, pair of sweats,
Yeah.
right?
And just say, let the old man go first, and that's it. That's how you can take advantage of turning 50.
Well, look, I mean, and who knows how far you could go as a bumbling old man. Look at Joe Biden. You could run the free world. You never know.
I don't want to hear you on the radio when you're that old and you're talking like that.
Don't worry. They'll be. Are you kidding, Enrique? I think what they're going to do is at some point when I do lose my mind, they're going to put me in a corner, put a fake microphone up, and tell me I'm on the air, and I'll just continue to talk into the wall. Hey, man, got to jump. Great to hear from you. Best to everybody. Take care, Enrique. All right, 8:27. Other side of the news with Eric Scott. It's hashtag Blue Friday. Time to honor some law enforcement heroes. 8:27. Eric Scott with the news in 3 minutes.
New Jersey 101.5 presents Blue Friday with Bill Spadia. Thanks to our sponsor, Jobs for Blue, the leading New Jersey provider of side job scheduling.
Cape May County has some of the nicest water in the Garden State, lakes, ponds, the ocean, of course. It's a go-to for outdoor enthusiasts. Now imagine you're taking a trip with the family and all of a sudden you're stuck in the mud. Car can't get out. You get into four-wheel low because you're in a Jeep and still nothing. All of a sudden you're sinking into the mud, into the water. 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet of water now encompassing and engulfing the car. Well, this happened to a family about a week ago. Their Jeep got stuck and there was no way to get out of the precarious situation with the car, too deep in the mud and the water. So smartly, they called 911 and waited for rescue. But as the water rose, the adults were able to get them. There were 3 kids there, get 2 kids out of the car. But the baby who was with them was stuck, strapped in a car seat. Now imagine the fear that overcomes a mom as she realizes I can pull 2 kids out, but I can't get the third out. Enter Lower Township Patrolman Antonio Marroquin. He responded to the call, and after navigating his way around the area called Lepores Point in Cape May County, he finds the car, finds the distress group, gets into the mud, into the water, gets into the vehicle, and is able to free the baby. And the assist goes to Cape May Sheriff's Officer Ray Tomlinson. But Patrolman Marroquin is our hashtag Blue Friday honoree for this Friday, being able to save a baby and reunite the family. I've got the video posted. You got to check out the video. There's, the one incredible thing with this whole body cam rule now is that the videos of cops saving lives, these traffic stops, and sometimes when you see the interaction with people and the relief that people have when something finally turns their way, it's incredible. But just watching this cop navigate the waters and get into the Jeep, anyway, it's all caught on camera, and we have it posted at nj1015.com/Bill Spadia. I do want to thank the great folks at Jobs for Blue. I can tell you that every year I go to, I visit them in Atlantic City, that VCS software, which runs Jobs, the number 4blue.com. That's jobsforblue.com. They handle police side job scheduling, and they do an outstanding job. They've got 120 departments now that have signed on to them. But every year at the Landshark in Atlantic City, Landshark Bar and Grill, they host a reception, and I'm there. This year, looks like we're going to do a podcast on one of the dates. There are a couple different dates they've got, but I'll keep you posted. And my schedule is every article I link to on nj1015.com/Bill Spadia. I link any article relating to an event that I'm doing. We also link my public schedule, which is at billspadia.com/events. And it'd be great to join me at some of these, especially the law enforcement ones. I have to tell you that I'm seeing more and more members of law enforcement come to our events and talk about when they were mentioned on Blue Friday. And I got to tell you guys, it makes my day. Makes my day to meet in person the heroes that I'm able to talk about on the air. And as you know, we started Blue Friday. I mean, wow, this goes back to 2015. And I was, if you remember, I had started on the radio station I used to fill in for Steve Trevelise at night. And that only started because I met Judy after Dennis and Judy were making fun of me, even though they never met me, on the air with my show Chasing News, which aired on Fox TV in New York and Philadelphia. And they were making fun. And so my producer, Jerry, and I called the show, and we invited Dennis and Judy to the studio. And,
Judy and I really hit it off, and we've been friends ever since, as I have been friends with Dennis ever since. But Dennis was out the next week, and I filled in for Judy, and that's how it all started. And then I took over the morning slot. So let's see, we're talking like we're into 9 years now, and it was a Christmas holiday show right before Christmas. I had Kim Guadagno, the lieutenant governor, join me on the air. And as you know, Kim Guadagno not only was an excellent lieutenant governor and just someone who should have been governor and came up short because of how Christie had left the party. I mean, just decimated everything over his time. But that said, she was on the show for something unrelated, and we were talking about New Year's resolutions. And as you know, before she was lieutenant governor, she was the county sheriff in Monmouth County. Wow, do we miss the days when Kim Guadagno was the sheriff? But she said to me, what are you going to do for your New Year's resolution? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not, I'm already getting up at 3:30 in the morning. I try to eat right. I don't know that I have one this year. And she's like, well, you ought to think of one. And she pressed me on the air. And what I came up with, I said, okay, I will dedicate every Friday, as long as I'm on the air, to honoring local cops. And that was it. It was a New Year's resolution that I made with Lieutenant Governor Kim Guadagno, and we have followed it ever since. Every Friday since then, we honor local police. So it is my honor and privilege to bring this to you every week. Lower Township Patrolman Antonio Marroquin, with an assist from Cape May County Sheriff's Officer Ray Tomlinson, our Blue Friday honorees for this Friday. Now, after the traffic and weather, which is coming up in a minute, I'm going to bring in someone who I've known for now 8 years, someone who suffered just a horrific tragedy and has a message on how she has formed a foundation and is helping people hopefully steer clear of having the same thing happen to them. But she has a charity called Catch You Later, and I spoke at their first annual event last night. And the purpose of the event was to raise money for the charity, which helps kids overcome issues and steer clear of impaired driving, distracted driving. But she works closely with law enforcement, and they honored 6 great members of first responders, including law enforcement, last night. And it was in Bayonne. What a fantastic event we had. But anyway, I want you to hear a little bit from her on the other side, and then ask you, what events do you have coming up this weekend? What charitable events can we plug for you? What do you have going on this weekend that we can let everyone know about so we can be here to help you? All right, everybody hang in there. 1-800-283-101.5 is my number. 8:45 is the time. That means traffic and weather coming up in about 2.5 minutes.
Bro.
8:52 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadio with you till 10 o'clock this morning. Talking Jersey, taking your calls, 1-800-283-101.5. As I was saying, 8 years ago, Pam O'Donnell got a call that no mom or wife should ever have to receive. Her husband, Tim, a local teacher, a fixture in the Bayonne community, and their 5-year-old daughter, Bridget, killed in a car accident. And the horror of the wreck, it happened. Tim was rolling up to the toll booth in the turnpike, and an impaired, reckless driver slammed the car from behind, and reports say he was going 80, 90 miles an hour, hit the car and pushed them into the other lane, and both were killed. And now the man's serving 29 years for his crime. But Pam is a woman of incredible strength, integrity, courage, and poise. In the face of this horrific turn of events, she launched a group called Catch You Later and has spent the better part of the last few years running around the country, speaking to young people and sharing her story. And I said this in my remarks last night at the first annual Catch You Later banquet in Bayonne at Chandelier, which is a great place owned by my friend Janet and her husband Rocky. A fantastic place. They own the Broadway Diner in Bayonne as well, and Broadway Diner in Summit. But they had to bring in extra tables because there were so many people there. It was really impressive. But Pam had just gotten back from Pittsburgh, driving 8 hours, and then hosted this event. She joins me now. Pam, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little bit tired, but I'll get through it. Worse things have happened in life, so.
Yep, you're right. Pam, I had no idea until I left and I spoke to my assistant Sharon, and she's like, do you know Pam just drove in from Pittsburgh to make it to the event? And I'm like, where do you get your energy, Pam? Unbelievable.
I have no idea. I have no idea. It's just this, the way that I grieve and that I have to go out and spread the message. And I had to be in Pittsburgh at 8:00 in the morning and give a presentation there for the Penn DOT.
Wow.
I'm now involved with in Pennsylvania.
That's great.
And then I got in my car and drove back, and I was back in time.
Pam, let me ask you, and I'm going to post a link to your website to help you raise money for Catch You Later. It's catchyoulater.org. Just tell me about the name of the organization. Why'd you call it that?
Because 2 weeks after the crash happened, my husband's students held a fundraiser, and him being a softball coach, they all had T-shirts that had a yellow softball with angel wings, and it said, "Catch you later, coach."
Wow.
And I thought that was it. Because he would never say goodbye. He would never say, "See you later." He'd be like, "Catch you later," and then walk away.
Wow.
And just to see his students do that just popped into my head, and I said, that's what we're going to go over foundation.
Wow, it was such a important call. Tell me this, what is your message to young people out there? What should they take away from your story?
Well, one of the things that's coming up is the 100 deadliest days for teen drivers. From Memorial Day to Labor Day throughout the United States, more teens will die in 100% preventable car crashes. So basically, don't text and drive, don't do drugs and drive, don't drive distracted. Anything that takes your hands off the wheel and your eyes off the road, potentially you could kill yourself, you could kill somebody else, and we don't want that to happen. These young kids are our future. So when I talk to older people, like in their 50s, it's like, well, I've been texting, blah, blah, blah. You can't teach an old new tricks. Well, we can get to the young ones that are going to be on the roads. And you see it all the time, 17-year-old crashes, mom's Mercedes, and these high-velocity vehicles. Just don't do it. Yeah. It's so simple to not answer your phone, not drive distracted, and yet people do it every single day.
Yeah. Well, you've got the story that just confirms the disaster that can come. And I think you also touched on drug abuse and mental issues. And I know the perp who's serving the now reduced sentence, but still he'll do 29 years. How do you feel about that, Pam, the reduced sentence?
Well, we knew that once you get convicted, you can have an automatic appeal. Some people choose to have remorse and they do their time. He chose not to. So for 8 years, he's been looking for a lawyer to appeal the conviction. And we got that call in August of 2022. So we had to make a choice. Are we going to retry him? And God forbid, get 12 stupid jurors that say he's not guilty and he walks out? Or do we reduce his sentence because he got sentenced to 37 years? Or do we take a little bit of time off of that so that me and my daughter and everybody that loves him and Bridget can stop being held hostage? Because that's what he did for 8 years. We were waiting every time that phone rang. I'm thinking, is this going to be it?
Yeah.
And I told the prosecutor and the defense attorney, do not come to me. I'm willing to sit down and talk. Do not come to me with, he'll plead guilty if we just give him 5 years.
Well,
that's not happening.
Pam, you showed
Jersey girl, and I'm tough, and we're going to fight.
Look, you showed your toughness, and let's hope this man is able to repent and understand the horror that he caused in your family. But God bless you, Pam, for taking this and making it a positive. CatchYouLater.org is the charity. The story's on the website. Pam, you and I are going to be in touch soon. You take care.
Bill, you were wonderful last night. Thank you so much for coming.
Always happy to do it. I'm here to support you. I've got your back. Thank you, Pam. You take care. All right, 8:59. Eric Scott with your news in 1 minute. 9:09 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadia with you till 10 o'clock this morning, talking Jersey, taking your calls, 1-800-283-101.5. So, as you know, I got a busy day tomorrow. Starting the day off in Ocean County, my good friend Dominic Cuso for his campaign fundraiser. He's the mayor, as you know, in Plumstead, and we'll be at a place in Cream Ridge. And then we're heading up to Hopatcong, the Jefferson Diner in Lake Hopatcong. And this is an interesting event because it's Americans for Prosperity and Jersey First. You know, I work with Rosemary Becky with the great group Jersey First, and the AFP is putting on this event. And it's all about a diner tour and talking about the state of the economy and what we need to do different and better. Joining me now, Ross Connolly, who's with AFP. How are you, Ross?
Good, Bill. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you got it. So tell us about the event tomorrow. Open to the public, correct?
Absolutely. This is part of our large national campaign at Americans for Prosperity to bring attention to how Bidenomics is actually bad economics. And the president's agenda is driving up costs on New Jerseyans and Americans across the country.
What do you hope to accomplish with this diner tour? I mean, what is the goal? Education is the goal to activate people, is the goal to show support for eventually common sense minded candidates to start to turn the tide?
I mean, all of the above. Our big focus is, one, connecting the policies to the outcomes that we're seeing at the cash registers at every store that we go to, basically. We're seeing inflation rise in basically every sector. So we want to give some inflation relief, some Bidenomics relief to the good people of New Jersey, for a couple hours, 11 to 1 p.m. tomorrow, to give them that relief, but also showing them that Bidenomics is driving up costs on New Jerseyans. And Congress people like Representative Mikey Sherrill is responsible for that because she voted for $5 trillion in spending.
Yeah. Well, and it's amazing too, Ross, because when it comes time for elections, all they'll talk about are the select stats that they pull out without context, and it's so disconnected to what real people are feeling and experiencing day to day. Now, when you say make it easier for folks, you're buying them breakfast, you're paying the difference, you're paying full boat. What's happening?
It's a free brunch, so it's on us tomorrow. We will be paying for everyone's meals, and again, just giving them that little relief. We think that inflation should be down and costs should be steady permanently for everyone. But unfortunately, the president and his allies in Congress, their agenda continues to drive up costs on Americans.
It'd be nice to see Mikey Sherrill have a serious challenge this year, and certainly it's going to come with voters understanding exactly who she is and how bad things have gotten under the Democrats' watch. How do people find out more about you, Ross, and the group?
You can visit AmericansForProsperity.org, but more importantly, the president may have his army of influencers, but they neglected to buy Bidenomics.com, so we did that for them.
Love it.
So you can visit Bidenomics.com and get the real story of Bidenomics.
I love it. Bidenomics.com, and tomorrow, 11 to 1 at the Jefferson Diner on Bowling Green Parkway in Lake Hopatcong. I will see you there, Ross. I expect to be there about 11:30, and I'll have about 45 minutes to an hour, so looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it, Bill. See you
awesome.
tomorrow.
Thanks, Ross. Have a great one. 9:13, Fast Traffic Instant Weather next. 9:21 on New Jersey 101.5. I am Bill Spady. I want to thank Parks Casino and Sportsbook for sponsoring Chime Time every morning on the show. Hey, I want to remind you, too, New Jersey 101.5 is ready to bring on spring. You can win a free spring getaway at Borgata Hotel, Casino, and Spa in Atlantic City. Listen up, 9 a.m., so you just missed that one. All right, don't snooze. You lose. Next one, 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Get the secret code word, enter it on the free New Jersey 101.5 app to win your free spring getaway and AC. 3 winners every weekday. Thanks to our sponsor, Borgata Hotel, Casino, and Spa. The spring getaway you deserve. Book your stay at theborgata.com. Bring on spring. Win your free spring getaway from New Jersey 101.5. Let's jump right back into it. So what do you got going on this weekend? we'll be we're going to be supporting my friend Mayor Dominic Cuso, mayor in Plumstead, good guy and very thoughtful, very committed, smart leader. And you know, I've said this, it's all about the mayors, right? I mean, it's all about the mayors. My good friend Ace Gallagher, mayor in Hanover, was at the event last night in Bayonne, and just one of the guys that understands that it is about local leadership. And that's how we start to push back. Now, I'm doing the event in Ocean County, and then we're headed up to Sussex. We'll be at Lake Hopatcong, Jefferson Diner. And, hey, AFP is buying you breakfast, so meet me there. It's 11 to 1. I should be there around 11:30 or so. I also want to thank Jimmy Davis, who's the mayor in Bayonne, for just running a great town. I know if you're a fan of Bayonne like I am, God, half the guys that I'm working with are from Bayonne. I love Bayonne. Cafe Bello, among the great places, and Chandeliers, where we were last night, which is attached to the Broadway Diner, owned by our friends Janet and Rocky, who also own the Broadway Diner in Summit. But you've got some really great mayors out there, and we talk about this, whether it's Parsippany and Jamie Barbario, or we talk about Mark Taylor in Florham Park, Jason Carr, another great mayor, Morris Plains. I mean, there are just some outstanding Mayor Panullo, another fantastic Morris County mayor. It is about the mayors, and it's about the local government, and it's about the strength we have locally. I think of Rob Arrace, right? I think of in Manchester, John Bacchione in Berkeley. That's how we take our state back. But it starts with local understanding that policy has to be implemented and judged by the gauge of what does this do to make our lives better, freer, more prosperous, and safer in our neighborhoods. It should not be judged by the criteria of what does it do for me. And this is the problem that I have with politicians, and I know you do too. They're thinking about themselves, not you. Let's go to Gary in Colts Neck. Morning, Gary.
Good morning, Bill. So, listen, we could straighten this state out. I do believe we are definitely more red than blue. It's just the media. We know that, the lobbyists. But people, we just need to be on board. If you truly like paying more for everything, and I don't wish Joe Biden death or anything like that as a Christian. I'm a crazy Christian, but I'm a good Christian. At the end of the day, come on, people. We're so messed up, and this goes for the whole country. Let's be honest. So, Bill, I love what you're doing, but people need to be on board, and I really hope there's going to be an election this year. And if there is, we have to take care of business. And this is our last chance, I feel.
Well, I think that you have to look. I understand what you're saying, Gary, and there will be an election. I mean, look, the country is right now being overrun by cartel migrants and human trafficking. And you saw those migrants yesterday, all military-age men storming the border, overwhelming our National Guard. There's no choice, in my opinion, for the next president than to militarize the border and go on offense against the cartels. We ought to treat northern Mexico the way the Israeli Defense Forces are treating Gaza. It's a war zone. We got to go in there with our military, with our technology, and wipe out these cartel training camps. And the reason you got to do it is after you close the border, after you go after and take out the cartels, then we can start to dissect and figure out how to deal with 15 million people who are here illegally. Many can be separated out as undocumented. You overstayed your visa, but you've got a job, you're paying taxes. We can put you in one category. But many, many more are these single men, military-age men that should absolutely every one of them be deported on day one without question. Families are different, but you got to make sure they're actually families. And what we've found now with these minors coming across the border, many of them are being sold into the sex trade. Many of them have been stolen from their rightful families and used as a ticket to get into the U.S. because, as I've said in many speeches, they are using our morality against us. So to your point, Gary, yes, this election is very important, but if Biden is reelected, if the Democrats continue to stay in control nationally, then the only other alternative is to fight at a state level and do the things that Governor Abbott is doing in Texas. I would like to see that brought here. Common sense policies, a common sense governor elected in 2025 can turn the state around and protect us from the reckless and dangerous policies that are killing Americans across the board. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate the call. Sharon, I'll get to you first after the news, 927. 9:38 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadio with you till 10 o'clock this morning, which means I got to get out of here soon. So, Eric, sounds like the rain may help you have a more relaxing weekend.
Yeah, it might, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff to do in the yard. We still haven't taken the roof and walls down off the tiki bar to open that up for the summer. And I have a lot of stuff that I need to get done this weekend in my office. So I think I will have coffee early and just hunker down in the office for a while. Makes it easier when it's rainy.
Yeah, I hope it's not crazy rainy in the morning. We have an early yoga class, 6:30, and then we start the day, and it's 3 events, and it's just. But I have a feeling we're going to be driving through driving rain and nastiness all day. This was a wild week politically. This was one of the more interesting weeks in New Jersey, wouldn't you say?
It has. I mean, between the Andy Kim lawsuit over the top line ballot, Menendez saying that, he's not going to run as a Democrat in the primary, but, expects to be exonerated and may run. More stumbles from Tammy Murphy, more wins for Congressman Kim.
It was wild. Yeah. Let me ask you, what do you think? I don't want to bet on it only because as you left the room, I don't know if you heard the start of Kathy's sneezing fit.
Oh, boy.
But we hit 8. So I am now up 7-2 in our quarterly contest.
Yeah, I think it's rigged.
Well, I know you'd think that, right? But her sneezing is amazing. I mean, the fact that she'll go like 6 to 10 sneezes in one go.
Right.
And it's predictable. So here's what I think. I think we call it a wrap on the quarterly sneezing bet. We'll move to a new phase in the next quarter, something else. But here's how it plays out. If I hold on to win, I owe you 2 right now bottles of bourbon.
Correct.
Right? I'm 2 down. So I will be 1 down with this win. So on April 1st, I will bring in the bottle of bourbon. And I think it's too early to bet because I'm thinking we agree on the outcome of this political stuff. I think that Tammy drops out before the primary. This is my new prediction. Kim goes on to win it. And depending on if the Republicans can get out of their own way and if Menendez actually goes through with an independent run, I mean, it could be historic. I mean, the Republicans have not won a Senate seat in more than 50 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if they've just kind of given up on it or
it
what.
Seems that way, doesn't it?
But there's no, look, you've got, with Curtis, you have somebody who has means to run a campaign.
Yeah, he's got the money. He's also got the personality. I mean, I have talked to him a few times, and we've interacted at some events together, and super nice guy.
Oh, he's a great guy.
Super nice guy.
And, and his hotel in Cape May is outstanding.
Congress Hall.
Congress Hall is one of the best, I think, venues in the state. And so much history, presidential history there.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know if there's enough name recognition or time or that people even really pay much attention anymore to a U.S. Senate race. I think people are disconnected from it. So you'll get, the diehard Democrat and Republicans that'll turn out, and the 2-to-1 advantage in voter registration the Democrats have over the Republicans almost guarantees that's a statewide victory.
Yeah, I mean, and I wonder how many split votes there will be if Trump decides to spend money here. I mean, Jeff Van Drew, whose name ID is certainly building. He's a friend of mine. He is a very committed Trump supporter, and he is heading up the Trump campaign in New Jersey. And Donald Trump, for his part, has said, "I want to be competitive in Jersey." It all depends on how much money they spend. I think if you start spending money and you saw that scene at the border yesterday with those migrants overrunning the National Guard.
Yep.
To me, I think we're a visual society now, and even though you may feel the pain at the pocketbook. You don't necessarily assign that blame to Joe Biden or Phil Murphy. It's just, the way the world is. There's so much noise. But I think the visual, a lot of people saw that video and thought, oh, that directly translates to me feeling unsafe in my own home.
No, I think there's definitely a visual connection there. I'll challenge you on whether they actually connect the economic policies back to Murphy or Biden, because the polls certainly show that they do. And, even people who are not fans of Donald Trump will grudgingly admit that the economy was better under his presidency. And even though there are some signs, you have record-setting numbers on Wall Street and, your unemployment rates are low, et cetera, despite all of those things that Murphy and Biden and others will point to as saying, hey, the economy is strong, the majority of people, because of the inflation effect, don't feel it.
So you make a good point, and I don't disagree with you. I think that you're right. If you look at the polling, it's connected. I guess what I'm saying is, we've gone through downturns before. It doesn't necessarily change election results.
I think this one's different, though, Bill. I do, because I think it's different because we haven't experienced this level of inflation. We've gone through high unemployment. We've gone through, periods where the stock market has fallen. We've gone through but we haven't seen the inflationary pressures on the bare necessities that we see right now. I mean, I just saw a study yesterday that rents are now as high as they've ever been, doubling over the last, 10 years or so.
Yeah.
The cost of your bare necessities, those are, that's where people are feeling squeezed. Right?
Butter, milk.
Everything.
So do you think, based on that, and okay, so I'll accept that premise, but do you think that, then that would translate that the Republicans have a historic opportunity with Trump at the top of the ballot to elect a senator this time? If there's ever been a time, this would be it.
Well, agreed. If not for the dysfunction of the Republican Party
There's the
in
problem.
New Jersey.
There's the rub.
That's what I said earlier this morning when we talked about that. See if this had been flipped. If it had been a Republican senator that was running into these problems and you essentially had an open seat, the Democrats would have had 3, 4, 5 people on a short list with strong name recognition that they would have tapped to aggressively go after that seat from day one, from the minute there was a problem. The Republicans have nobody no organization to be able to do it.
No, well, you saw it. I mean, Bob Hugin spent $400,000 of his own money attacking me in the 2023 election. I don't recall being on the ballot in 2023, but they certainly sent out some slick mailers attacking me. And instead of investing that money in vote by mail, and I see it every time I say it on the air, vote by mail. I'm not a fan, but you know what? We got to deal with these rules. Too many Republicans say, you know what, my protest is I won't vote.
I won't vote. Yeah. Well, I mean, and you see it in the turnout numbers, and that's unfortunate. There is nothing that demonstrates the disconnect between New Jersey residents and their elected officials more than a continued decline in the number of people who participate in the single biggest act that is the cornerstone of our democracy.
Yeah, that's it. You don't vote, you're not going to change anything. My final thoughts coming up after traffic and weather next. 940. 9:53 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning and goodbye. Got to get out of here. Just to wrap up, a couple of thoughts. We've got some great charities, and if you can help out, Catch You Later. It's catchyoulater.org. We had a great event with Pam O'Donnell last night with a lot of first responders at the Chandelier event venue, which is attached to the Broadway Diner in Bayonne. Shout out to all my friends in Bayonne. Great place. And great mayor Jimmy Davis runs an outstanding police force. All good stuff. Bayonne is just an outstanding place, and the community really came together when Pam O'Donnell lost her husband Tim and daughter Bridget in a horrible car wreck. And the perp, got a reduced sentence. And I'm going to tell you something. One of the things as we talk about all the manipulation and the ridiculousness in politics and how political leaders have really betrayed us over the decades, the idea that you get this automatic appeal and that it was up to the grieving family to make a decision as to whether or not they were going to fight this. This guy kills the husband and a father and a 5-year-old girl. He was hopped up on all kinds of drugs and going. They reportedly 80, 90 miles an hour plowed into them at the exit 14 or toll booth. Unconscionable that he'll be out in his early 60s and still have life to live. Now, you might argue, look, maybe he'll find some redemption. He'll find God. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, you pray for a guy like that he maybe uses whatever time he's given to do some good in the world. But what a heartache for the family. So help this organization if you can. And the other thing is that when I think about how we're going to change New Jersey, trust me on this. It starts with the mayors and the Board of Education members. It's why I'm going to be on Saturday out with my friend Dominic Cuso. It's why we're going to be at the Jefferson Diner later. It's why my wife Jody and I are on the trail every day, sometimes 2, 3, 4. We've had as many as 6 stops in one day, and that includes weekends. Why are we doing it? Because this is all about taking back New Jersey for normal. And to be very honest with you, I don't trust the government in Washington one way or the other. Even if Biden is replaced and Donald Trump becomes president, the bureaucracy, this deep state, the filth that's in Washington is going to be hard to overcome. It's going to take years to turn the country around and truly protect our border and get prices and the economy going to where average working families can take a piece of the American dream. So that means we got to start change here at home in New Jersey. So check out the website, nj1015.com/Bill Spadea. Check out my public schedule at billspadea.com/events. I want to see you on the trail. I hope to see you this weekend. These events are free. We'd love to have you out there. And more to come. I'll be in your town soon. We're going to hit every county in this state, and we're going to keep working hard over the next few months. And then, well, stay tuned. 9:56. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday, if not sooner. Two working days till Monday. Monday at 6.
Everybody's talking, no one says a word. Everybody's making love, no one really cares. There's matches in the bathroom, just below the stairs. Always something happening, nothing going on. There's always something cooking, nothing in the pot. They're starting back in China, so finish what you got.
Thanks for listening to the Bill Spadea Show on demand. Don't forget to check out the latest online from Bill Spadea on our free app or NJ1015.com.
New Jersey 101.5.